Hey guys, it's Marta. It's another week here in Poland and the weather was very warm a few days ago. Now it's a bit colder, but the few warm days that we got made the garden like explode with blossom. So today I wanted to show you my first tulips and of course my beautiful magnolia. I wanted to show you my magnolia first because last week when I showed it to you, it wasn't in full bloom. Now it is, and it looks like she's going to a ball in a full gown made with petals. So it's really beautiful. But I wanted to show you what started blooming below the tree. I absolutely love tulips and I always want to have hundreds of them in the garden because if you want to grow tulips, you need to know that the best they look is when they are in mass. So like hundreds of them look really amazing. The show is beautiful. So each year in autumn I get on my knees or I get my drill and I start digging more and more bulbs into the ground, and then I wait until spring and then the show begins. How do I plant my tulips? In the fall I try to wait until the first frost appears because then they say it is better for the plants and the viruses will be killed with the frost. Is that true? I'm not that sure because this year we are fighting a lot of viruses on our tulips, so I'm not sure if that is true. But I try to wait until the first frost and then I started digging. I used to plant my bulbs with hand bulb planter, but a few years ago I started using augers with drills and it's definitely faster. I think I can dig around 400 bulbs a day, so that is really faster and it goes smoothly. So this is the way I'm doing it now. It doesn't really matter what tools you use, but I just need efficiency in my garden. The question that I get asked most often is, if I plant my tulips, how many years can I expect them to bloom in the garden? It really depends on the variety. Some of the varieties like Darwin type tulips can bloom for many years and they perennialize pretty well. But some of the fancy ones, the parrot ones, sometimes you can only expect 1 year of blooming and the next year you will only see single leaves and nothing will bloom, which can be frustrating for people who don't know that. But if you really want the tulips that perennialize well, look for Darwin tulips. I think the red ones, which I hate, are the best ones to go with. I would say for me Spring Green and Purissima were really good ones, but I also can expect around 3 to 4 years of blooming and then they start to diminish. Last year we went to Holland, to the Netherlands, and we met with the tulip growers and I asked Linda, who is from Flower Farm, what can we do to make our tulips bloom year after year? She said that the best practice would be to cut off the flower stalk, then let the leaves yellow and dry, and then dig the bulb and let it be dry, and then check for the big bulbs and plant them again in autumn. And the biggest bulbs will give you flowers next year, but that is so much labor intensive that I just leave them in the ground, and if I need more tulips I will plant them again in the fall. I will link that video with Linda because it was in English, so you can watch it. It's on my Polish channel, but there is so much information about growing tulips, how they do it, how they select varieties. It's really interesting if you're into those flowers. I've spotted some color. I think it's Salmon Impression, new tulip in our garden. This tulip looks like it just got out of some amazing painting. The colors are incredible. When I look at it, it's just pure art. I can't wait for them to open. I really think maybe it will be tomorrow because today we had a lot of rain, and when it rains and it's cold they close because they don't want to be damaged. But huge tulip, beautiful. It came from Michael from Tulip Store. Can't wait for it. Can't wait for the show. Behind me you can see my blooming cherry tree. After the tulips stop blooming here, there is something else will be going on. So of course here we'll have hundreds of alliums and it will be a sea of purple. I also have salvias here. Here is caradonna, a lot of that. Then we have catmint. This is Walker Slow. So this will be the first, will be catmint. It will be purple. Then we'll have purple caradonna, which is a bit darker. And then we have a lot of roses. Most of them are pink, dark pink, light pink. And then we have a lot of shrubs and trees, and a new addition to my garden that are hydrangeas, the tree type hydrangeas. We'll see how that will look. Okay, let's find some more tulips. So here I have a border that I'm not too happy about because we had a lot of tulip virus here. Few years ago we had a lot of tulips, China pink, which is a beautiful lily-shaped tulip. Then we had a lot of purissimas, which you can still see, which are one of the first tulips that bloom in our garden, very early, beautiful, creamy white with a gentle yellow. And then we had a lot of angelic tulips, which are peony-shaped, also beautiful ones. But then the virus happened and I'm losing all the tulips. Even if I plant new ones, they get the virus. What can you do in this situation? So first, how do you spot the virus? If your tulips look healthy, they are green, they look like you want to eat them, it means that they are healthy. But if the growth is stunted, you see curly leaves, you see something on the leaves that is, it looks ugly, it looks like fungus, or it's just bent, it's the flowers are dried, it's probably the virus. If you have it, there is no cure for it. You can only leave this part of the border tulip free and wait for 3 to 4 years, and then you can plant new ones. Unfortunately, you can bring the virus with new bulbs, and sometimes it will just be in the ground. So this is what they say, that you should plant them after the first frost, so to minimize the problem with the virus. But I do that, and still we got a lot of virus. This year we had to remove around, I think, 60 tulips from this border, which made me almost cry, but this is what happens in the garden. On this side, in this border, I have planted a lot of tulips in the fall. And my idea was taken from Kuchenhof Gardens, which we visited last year. I will also link the video in Kuchenhof. It is in Polish, but there are so many beautiful borders. You don't need to understand Polish. You will understand the beauty of tulips and the beauty of bulbs in this garden. 9 million bulbs planted in one place. Just mind-blowing, truly. So in Kuchenhof, I've seen two plants matched together. There was a classic purple tulip that looked like Purple Prince, a classic purple tulip. And then there was a lily-shaped yellow, pale yellow tulip. They were paired together. I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I need in my garden. And I bought tulips that were similar, but I'm not sure if we'll get that effect, because sometimes when you order tulip bulbs, you do not get what you've ordered and you get something else. We'll see, maybe it will happen. I'm sure that these tulips that look really pink to me, not purple, we'll see. I'm not sure if it's Purple Prince, I don't think so. But we'll see, maybe we'll get a pinkish or purplish thing, maybe we'll get some yellow, I'm not sure, I can't see that. This is what gets mad, as you can see I'm like, so what will happen? Each year when I order my bulbs, I'm trying to get them from a distributor that will guarantee me the things that I ordered. Because when I order pink tulips and I have a whole border with hundreds of tulips and half of them are yellow, which I was not expecting, that is really frustrating. It's just the work you put in goes to waste. Another tulip that I wanted to show you, I have only few left and I cannot, each time I order I get something else. This is the tulip that has a beautiful scent and the smell is like you were smelling freesias. It's called ballerina. So here are my last 4 ballerinas. They've been growing here for 6 years. So and they were getting a bit smaller because when they were new, the flowers were much bigger. But unfortunately, they got the virus, and we had to remove several of them this year. I left those just so I can smell them because the scent is just perfect, like freesias. They are beautiful purple with I'm not sure what the color is, but you can see that this flower is changed by the virus, unfortunately. hopefully I will be able to get more bulbs, and they will be ballerinas, because whenever I buy them they are something different. They don't have the scent, they are just orange tulips, which have nothing to do with ballerinas. But if you're looking for a perfectly scented tulip, go for this one. Hopefully you will get the right one. Here is a tulip we've had in the garden for I think 6 to 7 years, and it bloomed beautifully. Unfortunately, also the virus is trying to get to it, so it means that it's spreading through the soil, because they were here for so long and they've been so healthy for all those years. So unfortunately I will have to dig them out, which is a bummer, because I absolutely loved them. And they are growing with euphorbia. I'm not sure what is the English name of that. I just got it from my neighbor a few years ago. It was just a tiny plant, and it's spreading through the garden beautifully, and it has this electric lime green flowers in early spring. I grow a lot of my tulips in pots, so like bulb lasagnas, but then when they dry I take those bulbs out, I dry them for a few months, and then in late autumn I plant them in my raised bed for cut flowers. I only take the biggest bulbs, the healthy ones, and I put them there. I will show you how they look like now. So here are the tulips that I grow for cutting, and I take them to the house. They are ready. This is the perfect moment to take them to the house and enjoy them for at least a week, or maybe even more. You have to cut the tulips when they are just showing color in bud, and you will enjoy them in the house for much longer. You can see I did not manage to cut all of my daffodils because we were leaving for a few days. So I will take those out. I will take out the flower stalks, let the leaves dry, and I will store them somewhere I don't see them, and we'll be putting dahlias and sweet peas here. It's starting to rain, so I will quickly take you to the front garden and show you a lot of orange tulips. Some of my hyacinths are still blooming, but some of them stopped, so I need to cut all those flower stalks. But I will have a lot of tulips here. We'll have Gabriella Double and Spring Green. Spring Green has been here for 6 years, so it's a good tulip to perennialize. Gabriella Double has been planted just this fall. On this side I have a lot of white and pink tulips. In this border for a lot of years we had just Purissima. It is a very early tulip, but this part of the garden is semi-shade, so they were usually a bit later than the ones that were on the border with lavender. But we've had them for I think 6 years, so there are less and less of them. So I started planting some new tulips. I've added Exotic Emperor. It's another example of a tulip that perennializes pretty well, also very pretty white tulip. And I've added this year some of the pink ones. We'll see how they will manage, and some of the purple ones to add a bit of color. You can also see the blue, and the blue are the flowers of Brunnera. I have a lot of Silver Heart and Jack Frost Brunneras, which are perfectly shaped leaves with white and green speckles, and then you have blue flowers that look like forget-me-nots, and they bloom for I think a month. So it's a great show with tulips and then with alliums. Okay, now I want to show you the orange ones. There are so many of them, and they are all the same, which is great. Do you remember one of the first videos that I posted when I was pruning my limelight hydrangeas? That was the border. Now you can see there are hundreds of tulips. I think I planted 400 of them, and I'm not sure about the variety, but I think it might be called Orange Emperor. I bought it because it was cheap and I wanted to plant a lot of bulbs here. But why cheap? Because this border gets very wet during the summer. If we get a lot of rain, as you can see, we do almost every week, the tulip bulbs tend to rot. So I wanted a display, but I was afraid that it will only be for a year. So I wanted to buy the bulbs cheap, and I had so much success. Sometimes I buy them and I pay a lot of money, and then I get something different. And this year I bought them in bulk, and they are all the same. So I'm very happy. I really like this tulip. It's orange, but it has a yellow tint, and then it has a slight vein with green. So it's really beautiful. I hope I will show them to you when they open, when we have a sunnier weather. Okay, it's starting to really rain. I think it's time for me to hide in the house. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about the tulips, please write them in the comments. Let me know if you have those varieties of tulips that bloom year after year. Please share with the others and let me know how is your spring going. Is everything okay? Do you have a lot of rain? Do you have a lot of cold? How are things doing? See you in the next one.